Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. You know, I've made a lot of response videos to some very bad takes and cringe misinformation. I've seen some awful stuff, some really stupid, painful, even evil takes. But this time, this might just take the cake. I actually think this might be the dumbest video I've ever replied to. Yes, I do believe this may be one of the dumbest things I've ever replied to. Yeah, look, guys, I'm not saying this to discount some of the stuff I've looked at in the past, okay? I know that some stuff from Extra Credits and from Wisecracked and all those others may have some really awful takes, but this one, I don't know, guys. Y'all may have to tell me in the comments what you think. This one is pretty stinking bad. Now, this is a 7-year-old video from Cracked with a very familiar face. That's right, guys. It's Daniel O'Brien from Obsessive Pop Culture again. This is the same guy that made that cringe Little Mermaid video that I made fun of the whole way through. Now, in that video, the Little Mermaid one, I mostly threw around jokes because I didn't take him all that seriously. He was throwing out mostly non-points and not doing a great job of making his case, and a lot of it was needless nitpicking that doesn't detract from the quality of the film. But this video is called Why Everyone in Aladdin is the Worst. And I'm going to be honest, I expected this video to be just like the Little Mermaid one, but it's so much worse. It's actually fascinating how awful this video is. I couldn't stop laughing, cringing, and groaning at this video. I had to show it to Lark. We watched it together, and even he was groaning. Even he was rolling around in tears at how bad this one was. I genuinely wonder if this guy even watched Aladdin. But, okay, you know what? You'll see what I mean. Before we get started, we need to change up my avatar, as usual, but I don't have an Aladdin-themed... you know what? Back when the Afira season came out in For Honor, Hannah drew an image of belly dancer Claire, so let's do that. There we go. Not bad. That'll do. All right, so, Daniel, tell us about how Aladdin, one of my favorite childhood movies, is the worst.
Hello Internet, my name is Daniel the Manual O'Brien, the Lion, and welcome to Obsessive Pop Culture Disorder, the only show camouflage can't hide from. Today, we're ruining the only Disney prince to get his own movie. You probably remember Aladdin as a sweet movie about a scrappy thief who gets into harmless shenanigans with his barely tolerable, incoherent monkey, and the most likable character, his slave Genie. What you probably don't remember is that there are only 2 redeemable characters in the entire movie, and neither of them have names. The whole point of Aladdin's narrative is that he, unlike everyone else in Agrabah, is a diamond in the rough, worthy of access to a cave so magical it's called the Cave of Wonders and is also a tiger. Aladdin, we are told, is better than the local merchants trying to provide for themselves and their families, and the guards who do their best to keep the streets of Agrabah safe. Aladdin, according to this movie, is the best person in town. False. While we're told Aladdin is a diamond in the rough, we never actually see him do anything to earn that. In fact, one might call him a dirtball in the dirtier dirt.
Firstly, bad joke. Secondly, I'm sorry, but this is a total deflection. Your argument is that the movie is trying to tell us that Aladdin is better than shop owners trying to provide for their families or guards trying to keep the city safe. Well, in a word, yes, he is. And the movie explores Aladdin and what makes him stand apart from these others. What aspects to his character exemplify him as a man worthy of the Cave of Wonders? You say we never see him do anything to demonstrate this? Well, I must ask you, sir, did we watch the same movie?
First things first. In Aladdin's character-defining introductory song, he tells us he's really good at stealing. Like he's the Michael Jordan of stealing. Scratch that, he's the different sports metaphor of stealing. Which athlete is known for stealing? O.J. Simpson. He's the O.J. Simpson of stealing. But he's the Michael Jordan of property destruction. One loaf of bread cost fishmonger a barrel of fish, an entire harvest of watermelons, and one guy's skin itself. Just the whole front area from here to here.
Huh. You know, what I found funny about those 3 examples of property damage you say Aladdin is guilty of, well, he doesn't cause any of them, right? He didn't cause that property damage. In fact, it was the guards. It was the guard who cuts the barrel of fish. It was the guards who threw the melons. And it was the guards who fell on the man on the bed of nails. How is Aladdin at fault when these guards are the ones being incompetent?
Most tellingly, Aladdin brags he's 1 jump ahead of the breadline, which means he's 1 jump ahead of the poor people in line for free charity food. That's like bragging you're 1 step ahead of the single mom in line at the food bank.
No, it's not like saying that at all, actually. You're over-exaggerating the analogy to make Aladdin look worse than he is. Yes, he's one step ahead of the breadline, meaning he's quick enough and skilled enough that he doesn't need charity. He can take care of himself without handouts. Why? Why did you feel the need to say he's one step ahead of the single mother waiting for a handout of bread? There is no breadline in this movie. It's a silly line in a song that you read way too deeply into.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Aladdin explains himself right there in the song. Gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat, otherwise we'd get along. I don't think so. Career criminals don't typically get along with me, Daniel O'Brien, especially career criminals who have hired assassins on their tail.
One jump ahead of the hitman.
Aladdin isn't just some thief, riffraff street rat. He's the guy with hitman after him, which tells me, someone who reads way too much into these sorts of things, that this diamond in the rough has a body count.
Wow. So, okay. You're stupid. I hate to be this blunt about it, but it seems that analogies and metaphors fly right over your head, so I just need to be direct here. See, when Aladdin says he has to eat to live and has to steal to eat, he is explaining his motivation for stealing food. You dismiss that explanation to instead claim Aladdin is chased by hitmen, meaning he's a murderer. First of all, Aladdin doesn't kill anyone in this movie or in anything that he's in. He doesn't even kill Saluk, who totally deserves it in Aladdin and the King of Thieves, just saying. But then when Aladdin says he's one step ahead of the hitmen, he's not saying that he's a murderer. He means that he's ahead of the consequences. And secondly, on a second note, having hitmen after you doesn't mean you're a murderer. There could be various reasons hitmen are after you. Perhaps you know too much and powerful people want to snuff you out, or you're unwilling to cooperate with the mob. There are lots of reasons outside of a body count. And thirdly, third point, I really do feel I need to emphasize this. Watch the movie. Please watch the movie. What does Aladdin steal? Food. Notice that Aladdin never steals money or valuables. Even when tempted in the Cave of Wonders, he never steals money or valuables. Now, Abu does, but Aladdin chastises him for it.
Just a handful of this stuff would make me richer than the Sultan. Abu! Don't touch anything. We gotta find that lamp.
This demonstrates exactly what Aladdin says in his song. Gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat. He's justifying his actions through this, and you saying that you wouldn't get along with career criminals doesn't take away from the line or its meaning. It's a deflection to avoid acknowledging the criticism hurled against you. My goodness, you're just stupid.
But Daniel, remember that after all that stealing and maiming, Aladdin hands over the bread to starving homeless children? You might be arguing in your head or out loud because you think we're having a two-way conversation because you've forgotten how things work. Yes, Aladdin and Abu hand their bread to two hungry waifs. What a noble, altruistic, humbling, extraordinary, diamond-in-the-rough gesture that any human would do in the same circumstances.
False. 100% false. Hard line, false. You are wrong about this, sir, and that is exactly why you don't understand this film. So let me try to explain this without crayons. I know that I should bring them. It would be a lot easier for you, but I don't have them, so we'll do the best we can. Firstly, not anyone would do this. For example, literally in the next scene, we see Prince Ahmed nearly trample the children when they stumble in his path, and instead of help them or show compassion to them, he tries to thrash them with his whip.
Of my way, filthy brats! Hey!
That's an example of one person who would not have done this. He clearly does not care about these children. Secondly, so where are the people offering bread to Aladdin? You see, the thing is, Aladdin sees himself in those two children. Hungry, desperate, afraid, neglected. The difference between them is that Aladdin is older, skilled, and quicker than the consequences of his actions. He can steal to survive. They can't. But if anyone would give food to the hard-pressed and needy, why has Aladdin had to learn to steal? You say anyone would give bread to needy kids? Who gave Aladdin bread? Why does he need to steal? Why does he need to take bread? Why does he need to steal food to survive if anyone would give it out? Why hasn't anyone shown kindness to Aladdin? He's a hungry, starving poor boy too, who has to steal and scrape to get by. Where's the people offering him bread? See, that's the thing. Not just anyone would do what Aladdin did. Aladdin even sings a song later where he laments how no one recognizes the kind of person he really is, or who he is beneath the surface. He's been treated like dirt his whole life, which is why he has resorted to stealing with no scruples about it. Because if everyone treats him poorly, then he has no reason to impress anyone. But here's the big part about that scene. That loaf of bread he stole was all he had to eat. And he still gave it to the children. Not only did Aladdin give food to the needy, It was all he had to give. You're saying anyone would do this, Chief? So you'd give all the food you have to a needy person. You'd empty out your fridge, empty out your pantry, everything you have, and give it out to the needy. You would do that? Look, there's no way you could be more foolish than this.
Giving bread to poor people is literally how dictators get their power.
I stand corrected. You actually can get even more foolish. Yes, obviously, charity is just the first stepping stone for dictatorship. Every soup kitchen is just another startup location for the Third Reich. I mean, of course, don't you remember how Hitler got his stuff with Adolf's baked goods and sweets? It was an absolute knockout. I mean, the things that guy could do with an oven, oh, what? Sorry? Okay, yes, YouTube is informing me I can't finish that joke, but I still want to know you're an idiot.
Oh, boy. He's cracked. He's gone nuts.
This is Aladdin's big moment to show us that he's worthy of entrance into a place so special that no one else in the whole world can get in, except Abu, I guess. And he demonstrates this goodness by doing something millions of people do every day. Feeds hungry kids. By that logic, your mom is a diamond in the rough, which she is, by the way.
No, it's not just that he feeds starving kids. The feeding of the two children is just one example of his better nature. That there's more to him than just a street rat. But like I said before, not everyone would do what he does. He gave up all the food he had, the food he worked so hard to steal and get away with, just for their sake. Aladdin is going hungry tonight because of his generosity. In fact, that's big. That's biblical. We could look at this in the Bible and see something similar. In Mark 12:41, it reads, Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor woman came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all give out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." See, that's the point. Anyone can give when it comes from their wealth, and the giving is nothing that would hurt their coffers. But one who gives all they have, they give more than anyone ever could. You're undermining the genuine generosity of Aladdin here. Besides, Aladdin does far more than just this throughout the movie. I don't know why you're hammering in on it like it's the only thing he does.
One more thing about Aladdin. Watch this.
I'm really very sorry.
Do you see it? Roll it again.
I'm really very sorry.
He saw the crown. Everything that happens next should be predicated on the fact that Aladdin knows Jasmine is a princess.
No. You didn't just say that.
Everything that happens next should be predicated on the fact that Aladdin knows Jasmine is a princess.
No, you didn't just say that. You absolute simpleton. You didn't say that.
Everything that happens next should be predicated on the fact that Aladdin knows Jasmine is a princess.
You can't be this dumb. You can't be. Please say you didn't just say that.
Everything that happens next should be predicated on the fact that Aladdin knows Jasmine is a princess.
You idiot. Did you even watch the movie? Okay, I don't even need to refute you. Play the scene when Aladdin gets arrested.
Unhand him by order of the princess.
Princess Jasmine. The princess?
Yum, now play him in prison.
She was the princess. I can't believe it. I must have sounded so stupid to her.
He had no idea she was the princess. He didn't even have a clue. He didn't know until she revealed herself to be the princess. The guards only knew it because they've seen her before and know what she looks like. That headband is not a crown. It's just a pretty headband. Don't you think that if it was indicative of her being a princess, that man from earlier in that same clip would have noticed too and been like, "Oh crap, it's Princess Jasmine," or anyone else for that matter. Just tell me, when you ate the whole crayon factory, did you get a tummy ache?
Also, small point, but don't forget that when Jasmine screws up in the marketplace and nearly gets her hand chopped off, Aladdin saves her by pretending she's his mentally ill sister.
She is my sister. She's a little crazy.
That's the first thing that popped into his head to save a pretty girl. Don't hurt her. She's so mentally disabled. Ha 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 ha.
Oh my God. You know what? You're the reason we have instructions on shampoo bottles, dude. You're the reason. Yes, he called her mentally disabled. And do you realize how that debunks your last point? But first, let's break down why he called her that. Why did he do that? Why did he call Jasmine crazy? Well, let's look at the context. Jasmine stole an apple without paying. When demanding that she pay for it, she says she'll go to the palace to get money from the Sultan.
You'd better be able to pay for that.
Hey?
No one steals from my cart.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't have any money.
Thief!
Oh, please. If you let me go to the palace, I can get some from the Sultan.
That is ridiculous. Imagine for a moment, you're in a supermarket, right? Someone checks out in front of you and then starts to leave, but then the guy says, hey, hold on, you need to pay for those. And then he says, oh, don't worry, I'll go borrow money from the president. You'd either think he's a liar or he's crazy. So Aladdin steps in and decides to push the latter and decides to sell the idea that she's nuts so that maybe the shop owner will calm down. In fact, it works. The shop owner starts to buy it until Abu gets caught stealing his stuff and then he freaks out.
Come back here, you little thieves!
It was not because he thinks girls are disabled. It's because he's trying to save her life, because he thinks she's lying, and he's trying to help twist the lie into an insanity plea. And you'll note that once Jasmine figures out Aladdin's game, she goes along with it, even to the point it surprises Aladdin.
She thinks the monkey is the Sultan.
Oh, wise Sultan, how may I serve you?
Tragic, isn't it? But no harm done. Now come along, sis. Time to go see the doctor.
Oh, hello, Doctor. How are you?
No, not that one.
That's funny. I'm sure that escaped your notice, sir, since comedy is a foreign concept to you, I'm sure. But do you want to know the best part about all this? You want to know the most amazing aspect to all this right here? Aladdin could have very easily saved himself, or Jasmine could have saved herself, if she ripped off her hijab and showed that supposed crown. Why didn't Jasmine do that? When Jasmine said, I'm going to go get money from the Sultan, why didn't she use her free hand, rip off the hijab, and say, see, look, there's my crown? Maybe it's because she knew that doesn't prove she's the princess, because it's not a crown. And why wouldn't Aladdin, if he knows she's the princess, not step in and say, oh, don't chop off her hand, that's the princess? Because maybe, you dingus, he doesn't know. And it's a total surprise to him. Again, you are the reason we have instructions on shampoo bottles.
Speaking of weird decisions,
You're my only friend, Abu.
the movie never makes Abu's particular monkey type explicit, but the internet's best guess is a capuchin. Monkeys that typically live in groups of 10 to 30, typically in a forest, none of which is true of Abu, who lives in the street with a loser. I said it. That's no place for a little monkey. Like, just naturally, that's no place for a monkey to live. Where would his habitat be in Agrabah? I submit that Aladdin went somewhere else. Chimp-napped that little monkey, since we know he has no problem stealing, and then immediately trained it to follow a life of crime. And follow that life hard. Aladdin steals to eat and live, but Abu has a problem. You stole a monkey from his family and you made him a crime monkey. Aladdin, you're bad for doing it. It is the stance of this show that you are bad.
So, you're making an accusation here without evidence. Very typical. You have no evidence that Aladdin, a dirt-poor young man in 9th century Arabia, was possibly able to travel to another country, steal a monkey, and then return to Agrabah. It is far more likely, given what we know about Aladdin's character, Abu's behavior, and their friendship, that Aladdin likely found Abu as the property of some animal or pet salesman, locked in a cage and abused. Maybe he saved Abu by getting him out, and Abu has been friends and comrades with him ever since. If Aladdin had stolen Abu from his family, wouldn't Abu resent Aladdin? We never see any indication of that. In fact, Abu is devoted to Aladdin, rushing to his aid even in harsh circumstances.
We just keep running into each other, don't we, street rat?
Run! Go! Get out of here! Abu! Down here! Hey, come on, help me out of these.
This criticism is only predicated on you making an assumption without evidence. So literally, this is a non-point. You didn't even need to make this point. You just made this up. You essentially just said, I think this could be what happens, therefore Aladdin's a bad person. Really, dude? Really?
Aladdin's love interest, Princess Jasmine, is in the holy trinity of Renaissance Disney princesses who reminded us that girls can be cool, even when they aren't asleep. Do we ever see Disney princes in bed asleep? Or is that just a princess thing? Weird. Ariel, Belle, and Jasmine have moxie. They're defiant. They like to read. One of them keeps her belly covered the whole movie. Not that there's anything wrong with showing your belly. Ladies, your body, your choice. Girl power. I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, you shouldn't have. In fact, you probably shouldn't have made this video. Oh, and remember that girl power thing, the whole body, your choice thing, that bit that he just said? Remember that. He's about to look like an idiot. I mean, I know he already does, but even more of one.
On a surface level, Jasmine hits every mark we need to know she's an interesting, brave, fully developed character. She defies her father. She has a pet tiger. She feels oppressed by her luxurious lifestyle and tries her hand at slumming it, which must have felt ironic to the dozens of slaves presumably living in that house and serving her every day. Now, I know we don't ever see slaves, unpaid workers, tidying Jasmine's palace, but this is a palace. It's not Grey Gardens. They have to have servants maintaining the property. Jasmine isn't just oblivious to her surroundings, she's criminally oblivious. Like, to the point where we should wonder if the Sultan had bothered to educate her at all over the last 15 years.
What does the palace having servants or slaves have to do with anything? Are you saying it's hypocritical or insulting that she has servants at the palace, but she wishes she wasn't a princess? How? Jasmine even tells her father that she doesn't want to be a princess anymore because she doesn't want to be forced to marry, she doesn't have any real friends, and that she's never been outside the palace walls. She wants to see the world, experience the unknown. She's not oblivious to her surroundings because she has never been exposed to the outside world. All she's known is the life of a royal, not the life of a commoner.
When Jasmine tries to escape the palace, she cleverly disguises herself by not bothering to disguise herself. She puts on a hoodie, but keeps her jewelry, including her tiara, firmly intact.
She wears a hijab to cover her hair because she knows enough about the Islamic country she's in to know that women are expected to cover their heads in public. And that's not a tiara, it's a headband. Ugh.
We find out Jasmine has a good heart when she attempts to feed a kid by offering him an apple from a cart. In all her years in the palace, no one bothered teaching her economics 101, which is troubling because she's in line to run an entire country.
She is not. That's why the Sultan wants to marry her to a man who can become Sultan. Because in Islamic society, men are most often the leaders. Yes, there are the odd exceptions, but they tend not to last long until they marry and then the husband steps in. But the reason she gives the child the apple without paying is because she didn't think about any of that. She's used to being able to take what she wants because in the palace, that's what she's always been able to do. Remember, she has never been outside the palace. So to her, if she wants an apple, she can grab an apple from the tray and give it to whoever she likes. In the real world, though, in the commoner world, she can't do that. Notice what she says when the cart man calls her out, when the apple vendor calls him out.
You'd better be able to pay for that.
There you go, see?
Nor was she aware that the act of theft was punishable by amputation. Again, disturbing, considering she's about to take over the place. You'd think someone would have sat her down and had a heart-to-heart about Agrabah's criminal justice system. During Jasmine's one night out on the town, she learned that starving people can be horrifically maimed if they steal food. In a normal world, getting that information would be life-altering, especially if you're one of the 2 people in the country with enough power to do something about it. Not for Jasmine. She continues on her date with Aladdin because dates are fun and Aladdin's cute.
No, she has no power to change that, because that's a tenet of Muslim law laid down in the Muslim text. It says, quote, "And as for the male thief and the female thief, cut off from their wrist joint their right hands as recompense for that which they committed, a punishment by which, for example, from Allah, and Allah is all-powerful, all-wise," quoted Al-Ma'idah 5:38. This is not something the Sultan or Jasmine can just change because it's just Agrabah law, it's religious law. I actually think it's kind of cool that the merchant even grabbed her right arm to do the deed. Close attention to detail there. This was one part of the movie that I thought was a little surprising but kind of cool to see because it does make reference to the kind of religion that would be going around in Agrabah at this time. You'll notice they don't often do that.
Finally, Jasmine's big thing is that she doesn't want to be objectified. She wants respect. She wants to be taken seriously. She wants to be her own woman. Then she uses sex to distract her biggest enemy. Aladdin turned Jasmine into a mentally disabled person to save her skin. Jasmine turned herself into a prostitute to save his. Those 2 belong together. Those 2 belong together.
Ugh, shut your mouth, you absolute incel. And no, I don't use that word ironically. This man is an incel. Just moments ago, you said that you have no problem with Jasmine showing her navel and looking sexy. Remember? Play the clip.
Not that there's anything wrong with showing your belly. Ladies, your body, your choice. Girl power.
Yeah, your body, your choice. Your body, your choice. But then you criticize her for using her sex appeal to her advantage. Yep, that's right. Women, you have the right to look and act how you want to. Until I don't approve of it, then you're a slut. You're a complete hypocritical cuck of an incel, aren't you? Firstly, Jasmine used her sex appeal because she knew what was needed in that circumstance. Jafar needed to be distracted so Aladdin could get the lamp. Jafar wanted Jasmine to fall in love with him, so to buy time, she played a part. This is no different from what James Bond does or even what Lloyd Forger has done before in Spy Family. They play a role to achieve a goal.
What about a drink at my place?
Your place? Is it close?
Very.
One drink.
I didn't mean to make you worry. I'm sorry. If she really feels this way, I have to use it for the sake of this mission. Time for Operation Honey Trap. Please, please don't lose faith in me.
And yet it's bad when a woman does it? In my opinion, this is an example of Jasmine taking autonomy. Rather than sit helplessly by and wait for herself to be rescued, she takes a part in the rescue and tries to help make it happen. She takes action. She uses her obvious beauty to help win the day. I think that's actually really cool of her to do rather than someone just waiting, oh help me, oh help me. No, she gets up and does something to help out. I thought that was cool. I think it is really funny that you will sit there one moment and say, yeah, power to women, you know, it's awesome that you do this, your body, your choice. Well, I want to use my body for its sex appeal to help save the day. You absolute whore. Really, dude?
Jasmine's father, the Sultan, has zero business ruling a country, much less managing his daughter's love life. When Aladdin shows up at the palace in disguise, unannounced, uninvited, from a country that no one has ever heard of, the Sultan, unlike just about any other dad on the planet, opens his home in the hopes that this stranger will hook up with his daughter. A reasonable parent would have stopped Ali at the door, asked him to point to his country on a map, then sent him and his freak show circus back home. Hi, I'm Prince Ali. I'm from and my father's name is Don't Worry About It. One princess, please. Not only should Prince Ali set off a million warning signals in the Sultan's head for his daughter, but a reasonable political leader would be a little bit concerned about a flamboyantly generous head of state marching into his country with what amounts to a magical army. This isn't a date request, this is an invasion. And the fact that the Sultan's subjects are loving it does not reflect well on the Sultan. I'm not saying Aladdin is doing that thing that Hitler did when he annexed Austria. I'm just saying that he could have been doing that thing, and an unstupid king would have recognized a coup attempt. Just because he faced the galloping hordes, 100 bad guys with swords. Sorry, what the hell was that? Anyway, that doesn't mean you should trust him.
I think it's adorable how this person has no idea how monarchies work, how 9th century Arabia worked, or how this movie works. So first you say that the Sultan has no business running a country. Well, he's the Sultan. He was not elected into that office, he was born royalty. You then follow up by saying that he should ask Ali to point to his country on a map and send him back. Yeah, see, that's the thing. They don't got a map. At this point in time, there are various lands and territories unknown to the world, and so it was not uncommon for those of powerful wealth and station to appear and mark their arrival with a parade or with extravagant gifts. You call it an invasion? Yeah, no, it's a huge show-off of how wealthy and powerful Ali is. This is not uncommon for the day for those of high standing, usually royals, to display their power and wealth by parading it. Remember, Prince Ahmed wasn't dissimilar, except his wealth wasn't nearly as great. Keep in mind, if Ali wanted to invade and take over, I think he'd have brought a military, not animals, showgirls, chefs, and everything else we saw. I don't think you know how armies or invasions work. But here's the thing about the Sultan that I find most interesting. He respects his daughter's choices. The Sultan says at the beginning of the movie that she rejects every suitor.
Dearest, you've got to stop rejecting every suitor who comes to call.
This implies that many other princes have shown up to wed her and she turns them all down, and he lets her. In fact, he is elated when he hears Jasmine has chosen Ali.
Will I ever... Huh? Can this be true? My daughter has finally chosen a suitor. Praise Allah!
A real sultan at that time would have just had her marry whoever he damn well pleased. But here, he's actually letting her choose. He's respecting her right to say no, which would be unheard of at that time. The Sultan may be dumb, but he's a pretty awesome dude. The guy actually cares more about his daughter's feelings than his own fears. Sure, he's annoyed by her stubbornness, but he still respects her choice. Why are we not talking about how absolutely based this Sultan is?
Finally, at the end of the movie, after Jafar has done his thing and is out of the picture and everyone knows Aladdin is a fraud, and Aladdin does his first unselfish act of the movie by using his third wish to free the genie.
Oh yeah, totally. You're right. That's the first unselfish act, man. You know, not giving the bread to the starving kids.
Here. Go on, take it.
Not taking a whip for those same two kids.
Out of my way, you filthy brats! Hey!
If I were as rich as you, I could afford some manners.
Oh, I'll teach you some manners.
Not saving Jasmine from being disarmed.
Do you know what the penalty is for stealing?
No, no, please.
Oh, thank you, kind sir. I'm so glad you found her.
Not promising to free the genie with his third wish.
I'll do it. I'll set you free.
Uh-huh, yeah, right.
No, really, I promise. After I make my first 2 wishes, I'll use my 3rd wish to set you free.
Well, here's hoping. All right.
Not vowing to set things right after Jafar exposes him.
I'm sorry, Abu. I made a mess of everything. Somehow, I gotta go back and set things right.
Nope. Absolutely not. Aladdin never does anything selfless throughout the whole movie. Tell me, if your brain exploded, would it even mess up your hair? Would you even notice?
Sultan says, oh yeah, this stupid law about how a princess can't marry a non-prince, the thing that started this mess. You know what, we can change that. You know why? Because I'm the Sultan.
Am I Sultan or am I Sultan?
After all that happened, that's the law this conceited, self-absorbed, intelligence-challenged group of narcissists are most concerned about? The law that says Jasmine has to marry royalty? Not the law that lets guards chop off the hands of apple thieves. This one, the one about romance.
Okay, so the hand-chopping law is a religious law laid down in the Quran that has to do with how one deals with thieves. It cannot be altered by the Sultan because to do so would be to alter Islamic law. The law about who the princess can marry is an administration and ceremonial law that is dictated by the whim of the Sultan and tradition. Besides, bear in mind that the Sultan's life and kingdom were just saved by Aladdin. I think that was the moment he realized that a non-prince could still be worthy of leading a kingdom and caring for his daughter. Remember the Sultan's whole reason behind wanting her to marry. Listen to the clip.
Jasmine, it's not only this law. I'm not going to be around forever, and, well, I just want to make sure you're taken care of. Provided for.
He wants to know that she'll be taken care of and provided for, and he thought a prince who is wealthy and powerful could do that. Here he sees Aladdin, who's definitely not a prince, risking life and limb to save not only Jasmine's life, but Agrabah. He's seen what he needs to see. He now recognizes that Aladdin, prince or not, is just the kind of guy who can take care of his kingdom and his daughter. I think it's cool the way he does this.
Also, the Sultan feeds Iago crackers that came from inside his pants. No pockets. Weird. Weird thing to do.
You know, we're almost done with this video, and I'm honestly wondering if you're going to say any actual intelligent criticism at all in the course of this video.
Imagine you're a clever monkey who, until a few days ago, didn't know that magic was real. Now imagine having every cell in your body change into a camel cell. Your skin stretches, your organs transform, your weight multiplies, all without your consent or warning. And then you're a horse, and then you're a duck, or a turtle, an ostrich, a car, and an elephant, all in the span of about 20 seconds. That's what the genie does to Abu. Say what you want about Jafar, but he had enough respect for his animal sidekick to keep him in a parrot form through the whole movie. And also, he just gave him compliments every now and then. It's important.
I love the way your foul little mind works.
Abu becomes the genie's voiceless, helpless prop in the Prince Ali charade, a prop who is entirely unnecessary. The genie could have easily magicked up an elephant out of nowhere. In the Aladdin TV show, we find that the genie kind of is a thing for violating Abu's body rights via magic. When they need a hound dog, the genie turns Abu into a dog, even though he could turn himself into a dog. When they need transportation, the genie turns himself into a cart and Abu into a horse, even though the genie probably could have managed both. During every transformation, Abu's face goes from fear to confusion to anger, with a mix of sadness and disorientation thrown into the mix. The genie and Aladdin have adventures. Abu has body horrors inflicted on him daily.
Comedy. The answer is comedy. Abu is not physically harmed by the transformations he goes through. He is annoyed by them. He's not harmed. It's not unlike in Ranma 1/2 when Ranma gets splashed and turned into a girl. He isn't in pain. He's annoyed that it happens.
Ranma, you sound like a girl! Were you not prepared to lay down your life for the sake of the art?
My life, yes! My manhood is another story!
It would be the same if my buddy found a genie and the genie used his magic to turn me into things. I'd be more annoyed that I'm the catalyst of his transformations than I would be hurt by them. Although, I would respectfully ask my friend not to do that. I'd rather not, but you'll also note that Abu still goes along with it too, and at times seems to have fun with it, particularly when he's an elephant. I don't know why you bring up the TV show, that's not the point. We're talking about the movie here, and Abu only gets changed into an elephant. But at the end of the day, this is a comedic thing. Abu is not hurt. Genie is not evil. It's comedy, which is kind of the thing that Genie and Robin Williams do. I'm sorry this is a foreign concept for you.
Oh, kids, yeah. Oh, you know those kids that keep popping up in and out of the story to get bread and apples from Jasmine and Aladdin? Are you gonna be alright? Feels like the movie goes out of its way to keep reminding us how poor those children are and how ill-equipped they are at surviving in this world, but there's no real payoff as far as like, don't worry, Jasmine adopted them, so they're fine now. In fact, their previous source of bread is off the street living in the palace now, so... Dead? Those kids dead? Those kids are dead. All right, next.
You know what I love about this criticism? This is awesome. I love this criticism. It actually debunks two of his previous ones. The first claim that he makes earlier is when he said that anyone would give bread to these children, so what Aladdin does isn't special. Play the clip.
Yes, Aladdin and Abu hand their bread to two hungry waifs. What a noble, altruistic, humbling, extraordinary, diamond-in-the-rough gesture that any human would do in the same circumstances.
See that? Yep, it's not special. What Aladdin does isn't special. Anyone would give bread to these kids. All right. Now he's saying that without Aladdin, they have no means of getting food. What? But I thought anyone would give them food, you moron. So why do they need Aladdin? Anyone would give them food. What Aladdin did wasn't special. It wasn't necessary. Anyone would give them food. Idiot. The second is when he says that the Sultan has the power to change laws and he chooses to change romance laws, which you find silly when laws could be made to fix criminal justice laws.
After all that happened, that's the law this conceited, self-absorbed, intelligence-challenged group of narcissists are most concerned about? The law that says Jasmine has to marry royalty? Not the law that lets guards chop off the hands of apple thieves. This one, the one about romance.
Well, why couldn't Aladdin, who is set to be the next Sultan, make laws to help people like those children? Maybe he could start soup kitchens, or, oh my gosh, no, he can't do that. Didn't you know that giving bread to starving people is how you literally become a tyrant?
Giving bread to poor people is literally how dictators get their power.
I guess Aladdin's the next tyrant of Agrabah. Ugh. I'd say the hamster wheel that spins in your head isn't operating, but let's be real, he probably ate the hamster. I assume this is the kind of guy who takes water with his cereal.
Oh, well that's it. That's all our time. Join us next week when our topic will be...
No way!
This video was fascinating. It was absolutely mind-boggling. See, usually when I do response videos, guys, the video that I'm responding to is either touting something very misinformative or evil, or it's just a really weird or silly take, or it's something that I just don't take that seriously. This one, I know that this one was just a bad take, but it's also such a fascinating approach to these bad takes. I'm almost like, is this satire? This has got to be satire. Because people can't be this dumb. And yet the video has 30,000 likes. It's 7 years old. I know it's an oldie. But it's fascinating. It's so interesting how bad this one is. I couldn't believe it. I even sat down with Lark and I said, Lark, I almost feel bad making fun of this. Because it feels like low-hanging fruit. But should we respond to it? And Lark said, yes, respond to this. Respond to it because it is beyond dumb. It's amazing. I actually love this video for how bad it is. I couldn't stop laughing. Oh my word. Well, that does it for this video. I don't think I'm ever going to top this response video, guys. I don't think I can. I hope you guys enjoyed, though. Go watch Aladdin. It's a good movie. Not the live action remake, that was crap, but the original, the actually good one. It was awesome. Okay, I love that movie. All right, anyway, thank you guys so much. And I'll see you in my next one. Take care, guys.